Why do you have a tiny writhing serpent dangling between your thighs? Drake Voss stood rigid beneath the violet mist of the sanitation-pod, suds sliding down his chest, when the alien landlady's voice sliced through the steam like a plasma blade. He had arrived on Zorath 9 only hours earlier, stepping off a dented shuttle into air thick with metallic pollen. The triple moons hung low, painting the sky in molten silver. He slung his duffel over one shoulder and approached the bioluminescent spire that would serve as his new home. Rented sight unseen for a price that had made his accountant weep with joy. Unit 942 pulsed on the directory and shifting glyphs. The lift hummed upward, depositing him on the 9th floor before a door of liquid mercury that irised open at his touch. Inside waited Liraya, landlady and living enigma, skin the color of molten jade, eyes twin amethysts that caught every shard of light, hair a waterfall of aquamarine silk that moved like living water. She wore a wrap of iridescent fabric that shifted from violet to emerald with every breath, clinging to curves that defied every law of physics Drake had ever studied. "Welcome, tenant," she said, voice a melody of wind chimes and distant thunder. "I am Liraya. Your quarters await." Drake followed, boots sinking into flooring that pulsed faintly beneath his weight. The apartment unfolded in prismatic splendor, furniture that rearranged itself to match mood, walls lined with vines that glowed soft indigo and exhaled starbloom perfume. She ushered him into a bedroom dominated by a panoramic viewport, framing the neon labyrinth of the city below. "Sanitation-pod is there." She gestured toward an arch of frosted crystal. "Settle in. I will prepare the evening meal." He stripped with the haste of a man shedding weeks of hyperspace grime, stepping into the pod. Violet mist enveloped him, warm and tingling, needles of water massaging away fatigue. He was lathering shampoo into his dark hair when the arch irised open without warning. Liraya stood framed in violet light, eyes wide as she took in his naked, soapy form. Stars above. "Human male, why the miniature verlisk between your legs?" Drake yelped, hand slapping over himself. "It's called a penis, and do you knock?" Liraya tilted her head, unfazed, scales along her collarbone catching the light like scattered emeralds. "Is this a standard for your species?" "It resembles a juvenile void eel, coiled and pulsing, ready to strike." His face burned hotter than a plasma coil. "Yes, it's normal." "Human male anatomy. Privacy, please?" "Privacy?" Comprehension flickered across her features like moonlight on water. "Ah, your species clings to peculiar bodily taboos. My apologies. I merely wish to inform you that dinner will be served in half a lunar cycle." She glided out, the door sealing behind her with a soft sigh, leaving Drake gaping after her, pulse racing with mortification and a treacherous, undeniable spark of arousal. He finished in record time, dressed in fresh fatigues, and ventured out to find Liraya setting dishes on a low table of black glass. The spread glowed, fruits that pulsed with inner light, fillets of nebula fish that shimmered like oil on water, a carafe of amethyst nectar that fizzed and sang. "Please call me Drake," he said, folding himself onto a cushion beside her. The fabric molded to his body like memory foam from a fever dream. As they ate, Liraya studied him openly, the faint pattern of scales along her high cheekbones catching the light. "This penis you mentioned," she said, sipping nectar. "It is the organ through which human males contribute genetic material?" Drake nearly inhaled a glowing berry. He swallowed hard, took a long pull of nectar that tasted of lightning and honey. Yeah, it's inserted into the female during coupling." Her eyes gleamed like polished gemstones. "Fascinating." Zorathians reproduce through lunar resonance, a sacred dance beneath the triple moons. The resulting energy merges our life forces to create new beings. "No. Insertion required." "Definitely less messy," Drake muttered under his breath. "Indeed." Her smile revealed pearlescent fangs that caught the light like tiny moons. "Perhaps you could enlighten me further about human methods. I find myself intrigued." Her voice dipped into a register that sent heat curling low in his belly. He shifted on the cushion, all too aware of her proximity, the way her wrap slid higher on her thigh with every graceful movement. "Maybe. Not over dinner." Liraya laughed, a sound like starlight spilling across water. "Forgive my forwardness. It has been eons since I entertained a guest, especially one as exotic as yourself." Her gaze lingered on his mouth, then flicked lower, a silent promise. Over the next few days, Drake settled into a rhythm, Mornings. Exploring Zorath 9's labyrinthine markets, collecting xenobiological samples under the alien sun that never quite rose the same way twice. Afternoons returning to the Spire, where Liraya waited with questions that grew bolder with each shared meal. One evening, sprawled on cushions while a hollow fire crackled in the hearth, she asked, "Your entertainment vids often depict mating for leisure?" "Not all," Drake said, rolling his eyes. "Some are action, comedy, romance." "Romance?" She leaned closer, aquamarine hair brushing his arm like silk. "Is that not merely a precursor to mating?" He rubbed the back of his neck. "It can lead there, sure. But romance is about the emotional connection, the build-up, flirting, seduction, falling in love." "Show me," she breathed, eyes luminous. His heart stuttered. Slowly, he reached out, tucking a strand of hair behind her delicately pointed ear. His knuckles grazed her jaw as he withdrew. "Flirting is teasing, building anticipation. A dance like your lunar ritual, a promise of what could be if both partners are willing." Her lips parted, breath warm against his wrist. "And are you willing, Drake Voss?" He swallowed hard. Attraction roared through him like a solar flare. She was radiant, untamed, a siren woven from starlight and sin. But his earth oath loomed like a shadow. No romantic entanglements during mission. Boom! The Spire shuddered. Alarms wailed in a language that translated as, "Hull breach detected. Raiders inbound." Liraya's eyes flashed violet fire. "Vaxar's men, move!" She seized his hand, yanking him toward a hidden panel in the wall. They tumbled inside a shielded alcove just as another explosion rocked the apartment, dust sifting from the ceiling. In the dim emergency glow, Drake found himself pressed against Liraya, her soft curves molding to his hard planes, silk hair tickling his cheek, her breath quick and warm against his neck. Every point of contact sent sparks skittering across his skin. "Looks like that conversation," he rasped, lips brushing her ear. "We'll have to wait." Her gaze burned into his. "It will be continued, make no mistake, my captivating human male." Despite the danger, anticipation thrilled through him. Liraya was a puzzle he ached to solve. Cultural barriers and celibacy vows be damned. More explosions sounded outside their sanctuary. Drake held her close, inhaling starbloom and ozone, and wondered just what the hell he'd stumbled into. In the cramped confines of the alcove, Drake became hyper-aware of every place their bodies touched. The silken brush of her hair against his jaw, the press of her lithe form against his chest, the way her quickened breath ghosted across his throat. Each sensation ignited tiny fires beneath his skin. "You okay?" he murmured, voice rough. Liraya tilted her head back, amethyst eyes luminous in the dim light. "Unharmed thanks to your swift action?" Her fingers toyed with the collar of his shirt, nails grazing skin. "My hero, however shall I repay you?" Heat flooded him. "Liraya, but can't we explore?" she challenged, pressing closer. "The fascinating differences and similarities of our species? Can't we indulge our curiosity, our desire?" He groaned as her curves molded more fully to his frame. "I made a vow," he gritted, even as his hands flexed on her hips. "No entanglements on mission," she hummed, fingers tracing maddening patterns on his chest. Noble but short-sighted. What better way to understand an alien culture than to immerse yourself intimately? His resolve shattered like glass under a sonic hammer. With a muttered curse, he cupped her face and crushed his mouth to hers. The kiss was a supernova, lips, teeth, tongues clashing in raw electric need. Liraya made a sound of approval deep in her throat, fingers tangling in his hair as she angled her head to deepen the connection. Drake lost himself in the drugging slide of her mouth, the lush softness of her lips, the dance of her tongue against his. He'd kissed women on Earth, but nothing compared to the sheer intensity of kissing Liraya. It was like swallowing lightning, like being consumed by a wildfire that left no ash. Just as he considered the logistics of lifting her against the wall, a chime sounded, all clear. They broke apart reluctantly, chests heaving, eyes glazed. "To be continued," Liraya whispered, nipping his bottom lip before stepping back and smoothing her hair with trembling fingers. Drake took a shuddering breath, adjusting his pants beneath the concealing drape of his shirt. They emerged to find the apartment in disarray, furniture overturned, scorch marks marring the walls like bruises. Liraya surveyed the damage, brow furrowed. This was no random raid. They targeted something specific. "What do you mean?" Drake asked, moving to stand beside her. She shook her head. "I'm not certain, but I have suspicions. Let me make inquiries." She started to move away, but he caught her hand, tugging her back. "Hey, about what happened in there." Liraya silenced him with a finger to his lips. "I meant what I said. I want to explore this connection, but I understand if you need time to reconcile it with your mission and vows." His heart swelled. He pressed a kiss to her finger before lowering her hand. "I want to explore it too. But you're right, we should focus on what just happened here." She nodded, a small smile playing about her lips. "Always the pragmatist. I'll make calls. You contact your superiors." The rest of the day passed in a blur of activity. Drake reported the incident to the Xenobiology Institute, who promised reinforcements. Liraya remained tight-lipped about her own investigations, saying only that she was calling in favors. By nightfall, exhaustion dragged at them both. Drake collapsed onto the couch with a groan, head tipping back against the cushions. A moment later, the couch dipped as Liraya settled beside him. "What a day," he sighed, rolling his head to look at her. She hummed in agreement, fatigue evident in the droop of her shoulders. "Indeed, but we survived, and that's what matters." Drake reached out, tucking a stray lock of aquamarine hair behind her ear, fingers lingering on the delicate point. "I'm glad you're okay. When those explosions hit, all I could think about was getting you to safety." Liraya leaned into his touch, eyes fluttering closed. "I felt the same. The thought of losing you, just as we're discovering what we could be, it terrified me." His heart clenched at the vulnerability in her voice. He gathered her into his arms, tucking her head beneath his chin. "I'm not going anywhere. We'll figure this out together." She relaxed against him, arms wrapping around his waist. They sat like that for a long moment, simply holding each other, savoring the rightness of it. Eventually, Liraya pulled back just enough to meet his gaze. "Stay with me tonight," she whispered. "Just to sleep. I don't want to be alone." Drake brushed his knuckles across her cheekbone, marveling at the velvet softness of her skin. "I don't want to be alone either." Hand in hand, they made their way to Liraya's bedroom. They undressed quietly, slipping beneath cool sheets and just their underlayers. Drake gathered her close, reveling in the press of her bare skin against his. They traded lazy kisses and gentle caresses, more soothing than arousing. When sleep finally claimed them, it was with limbs tangled and hearts beating in perfect sync, two souls finding shelter in the storm. Drake awoke to the unfamiliar but welcome sensation of a warm body pressed against his side. He blinked open his eyes, orienting himself. Right, he was in Liraya's bed. The raid, the kiss in the alcove, the decision to explore their attraction all came flooding back. As if sensing his thoughts, Liraya stirred, eyelids fluttering open to reveal those mesmerizing amethyst irises. "Good morning," she murmured, voice husky with sleep. Drake's heart stuttered at the intimate sound. "Morning," he replied, voice rough.
"Sleep well?"
Liraya stretched languidly, her lithe body brushing against his in a way that made his blood heat. "Better than I have in ages. There's something to be said for the comfort of a warm human body beside me." He chuckled, trailing fingers along the bare skin of her arm. "Glad I could be of service," she hummed in contentment, snuggling closer. They lay like that for a long moment, savoring the quiet intimacy of the morning. Eventually, Liraya propped herself up on one elbow, studying his face with a tender expression. "Thank you for staying with me. I know it couldn't have been an easy decision given your vow." Drake reached up to cup her cheek, thumb stroking the delicate scales there. "It was easier than you might think. Being with you feels right, like it's where I'm meant to be." Her eyes shimmered with emotion. She leaned down to brush her lips against his, a feather-light caress that still managed to steal his breath. "I feel the same," she whispered against his mouth, the tender moment shattered with the chime of the doorbell. Liraya pulled back with a sigh. "That'll be your colleagues. We should make ourselves presentable." Drake groaned but nodded, reluctantly disentangling himself from her embrace. They dressed quickly, stealing glances and secret smiles as they moved around each other in the bedroom. When they emerged into the living area, it was to find a trio of humans waiting. 2 men and a woman, all in the distinctive blue uniforms of the Xenobiology Institute. "Drake," the woman exclaimed, stepping forward to clasp his hand. "Thank goodness you're all right. We came as soon as we heard about the raid." Drake returned the handshake with a grin. "Good to see you, Elena. I'm fine, thanks to Liraya." He gestured to Liraya, who inclined her head graciously. "Welcome to my home," she said. "I am Liraya, Drake's landlady. And friend? Elena's eyebrows shot up at the meaningful pause, gaze darting between them speculatively. I see. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, Liraya. I'm Dr. Elena Ruiz, and these are my colleagues, Dr. Rajiv Singh and Dr. Mikhail Orlov. The men nodded, eyes alight with curiosity, as they took in Liraya's alien features. Forgive the intrusion, Rajiv said. But when we heard about the attack, we thought it prudent to check on Drake in person. And not just for his safety, Mikhail added, thick Russian accent rolling like thunder. We were intrigued by reports of his developing relationship with a Zorathian native. Drake felt his face heat. He glanced at Liraya, gauging her reaction, but she seemed more amused than offended. I see my reputation precedes me, she said dryly. Yes, Drake and I have become quite close. It's been an enlightening experience for both of us. Elena's eyes gleamed with scientific interest. Fascinating. An interspecies romance blooming amidst a raid. The anthropological implications alone are staggering. Drake cleared his throat, feeling like a specimen under a microscope. Yes, well, it's all very new. We're still figuring things out. Rajiv waved a hand dismissively. Of course. But you must see the incredible opportunity this presents, Drake. A chance to study Zorathian culture and biology up close and personal. The insights would be invaluable to the Institute. Drake frowned, uncomfortable with the idea of using his relationship as a research tool. But before he could object, Liraya spoke up smoothly. I understand your excitement, doctors, and I'm not opposed to sharing my culture. But I ask that you respect the privacy and sanctity of my relationship with Drake. We are not lab rats to be poked and prodded. Mikhail had the grace to look abashed. Of course. Our apologies. We didn't mean to overstep. We're just thrilled at the prospect of learning more about your fascinating species. Liraya's smile was sharp. I'm happy to teach you on my terms in my own time. For now, we have more pressing matters, like the motive behind the raid on my home. The doctor sobered, curiosity giving way to concern. Yes, of course, Elena said. Drake mentioned you had suspicions. Care to elaborate? Liraya sank onto the couch. Drake sat beside her, offering silent support. I believe the raid was orchestrated by my ex-lover Vaxar. He's a high-ranking official in the Zorathian government. Powerful, influential. We ended things badly, and he's always been the jealous, possessive type. Drake felt a surge of protectiveness at the weariness in her voice. He took her hand, lacing their fingers. You think he found out about us and didn't take it well? Liraya nodded. Vaxar tolerates no perceived slights. The idea of me moving on, especially with a human, would enrage him. I wouldn't put it past him to use his resources to eliminate the competition. Rajiv looked alarmed. Eliminate? You mean he wants Drake dead? Liraya's grip tightened. It's a possibility we can't ignore. Vaxar is ruthless when wronged, and he has a long reach. Mikhail cursed in Russian. This is not good. We must take precautions to ensure Drake's safety. Elena nodded grimly. Agreed. We'll arrange security and dig into this Vaxar. See if we can find proof of his involvement. Drake felt gratitude swell, but he couldn't just hide. I appreciate the help, but I'm not sitting back while Liraya's in danger. We're in this together. Liraya's eyes softened. She cupped his cheek. Always. Elena exchanged glances with her colleagues, a mix of concern and admiration on their faces. Well, far be it from us to stand in the way of true love, she said dryly. We'll do everything to help you take down this Vaxar bastard. Consider the full resources of the Institute at your disposal. Drake and Liraya blinked, surprised but touched. Thank you, Liraya said sincerely. Your support means more than you know. Mikhail clapped his hands together. Excellent. Then let us begin planning our counterattack. This Vaxar won't know what hit him. As the group huddled, trading ideas and strategies, Drake felt hope and determination settle in his chest. With Liraya by his side and his friends at his back, they could face anything. Their love was new, untested, but already a force to be reckoned with. Over the next few days, Drake and Liraya fell into a comfortable routine. Mornings, strategizing with the Xenobiologist team, poring over data and reports to uncover proof of Vaxar's involvement. Afternoons, exploring the city together, Liraya playing tour guide and cultural interpreter. Drake found himself endlessly fascinated by the alien world, but even more by the alien woman at his side. Liraya made even mundane aspects of Zorathian life seem exciting, her enthusiasm infectious. Of course, cultural differences led to the occasional awkward moment. Like the time Liraya took Drake to a traditional resonance bathhouse, neglecting to mention clothing was optional. Liraya, Drake yelped, hastily averting his eyes from a sea of naked jade bodies lounging in steaming pools. A little warning would have been nice. She tilted her head, puzzled. What's wrong? Is nudity taboo in human culture? Drake's face heated, and not just from the steam. Not taboo exactly, but it's generally considered a private thing. Not something you do in public. Liraya's eyes sparkled with mischief. Ah, so the sight of naked bodies makes you uncomfortable? Even after our intimate encounter in the pod? He sputtered, blush deepening. That was different. We were alone, and it was an accident, sort of. Liraya laughed, the sound rich and warm. Oh, my prudish human. You're adorable when flustered. She leaned in close, breath tickling his ear. But just so you know, I rather enjoyed the view. Especially of your... what did you call it? Yes, your mini Virlisk. Drake groaned, torn between embarrassment and arousal at the husky note in her voice. You're never going to let me live that down, are you? She grinned, unrepentant. Not a chance. It's far too amusing and intriguing. Her gaze turned heated, raking over him in a way that made his blood sing. I must admit, I'm quite curious about the mechanics of it all. Perhaps you could give me a private demonstration sometime. Drake's mouth went dry at the blatant invitation. He swallowed hard, voice coming out rough. I think that could be arranged. For purely educational purposes, of course. Liraya's smile turned wicked. Of course. I'm always eager to learn new things, especially about my favorite subject, human anatomy. The bathhouse incident was just the first of many playful exchanges. Their banter took on an increasingly flirtatious edge. Drake looked forward to the way Liraya's eyes would dance with humor and heat as she teased him about his strange human ways. But it wasn't all jokes and innuendo. There were moments of genuine connection, like when Liraya took Drake to a Zorathian temple explaining intricate rituals and beliefs. We believe all life is connected, she said softly, running fingers over carved stone altars. That we are all part of a greater whole, bound by the energy that flows through the universe. Drake watched, transfixed by the reverence in her voice and the way candlelight played over her features. That's beautiful. It reminds me of some earth religions like Buddhism or Hinduism. Liraya turned to him, eyes warm and curious. Tell me more about your beliefs, Drake. I want to understand what shapes your view of the world. So Drake did, sharing stories of his upbringing and the faiths he'd encountered in his travels. They talked for hours, lost in conversation, finding common ground and marveling at differences. It was in moments like these that Drake felt himself falling deeper, his heart opening to Liraya in ways he'd never expected. It was more than physical attraction, more than the thrill of the exotic. It was a true meeting of minds and souls, a connection that transcended species and culture. Of course, that didn't stop his body from reacting in decidedly human ways, especially when Liraya accidentally walked in on him in the pod again, eyes gleaming with mischief and barely concealed desire. Oops, she would say, gaze lingering on his naked form. I seem to have forgotten about that pesky human need for privacy again. My apologies, Drake would groan, half in frustration, half in amusement. You're doing this on purpose, aren't you? Trying to drive me crazy with glimpses of what I can't have. Liraya would feign innocence, lips twitching with suppressed laughter. I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm simply trying to understand human customs, like why you insist on covering up such a magnificent specimen of masculinity. Drake would flush, body responding to her bold appraisal. Liraya, he would warn, voice low and rough. If you keep this up, I won't be held responsible for my actions. Her smile would turn sultry, eyes darkening with promise. Is that a threat or a promise? And so their dance continued, the tension building between them like a coiled spring ready to snap. But always they pulled back, mindful of the greater challenges they faced. Challenges like Vaxar, who loomed over them like a dark cloud, his jealousy a constant threat. Liraya grew tense and watchful, jumping at shadows and startling at sudden noises. Drake did his best to comfort and reassure her, holding her close and murmuring soothing words in her ear. We'll stop him, Liraya. I won't let him hurt you or come between us. I promise. She would cling to him, drawing strength from his solid presence. I know. I trust you, Drake, more than I've ever trusted anyone. It was a heady feeling being the object of such faith and devotion. Drake felt humbled by it, and more determined than ever to prove himself worthy of her love. Because that's what it was, he realized with sudden clarity that stole his breath. Love. He loved Liraya with every fiber of his being, and he would do whatever it took to protect her and their budding relationship, even if it meant facing down a vengeful ex-lover, cultural taboos, and the disapproval of their respective societies. Because in the end, none of that mattered. All that mattered was the way Liraya made him feel, the way she filled his heart and soul with joy and purpose. And as he held her close, breathing in her unique scent and savoring the feel of her in his arms, Drake knew he would never let her go. No matter what the universe threw at them, they would face it together. Two hearts, two worlds, one love. It was a bond that could not be broken, a destiny that could not be denied. And it all started with a simple misunderstanding, a case of cultural confusion that had blossomed into something beautiful and true. Drake smiled to himself, marveling at the twists and turns of fate. Who would have thought that a glimpse of his mini Verlisk would lead to such an epic romance? But then again, stranger things had happened, especially when a certain jade-skinned alien landlady was involved. And Drake wouldn't have it any other way. Drake knew something was off the moment he walked into the apartment. The usually vibrant space was eerily quiet, the air heavy with unspoken tension. He found Liraya sitting on the couch, her face pale, eyes distant. "Liraya," he called softly, concern lacing his voice. "What's wrong? Are you okay?" She looked up at him, expression a mix of wonder and fear. "Drake, I'm pregnant." The world tilted on its axis. Drake's heart stuttered in his chest. "What? How? I mean, are you sure?" Liraya nodded, hand drifting to her stomach. "I took a test this morning and another just to be certain. Both positive." Drake sank down beside her, mind reeling. A baby. They were going to have a baby. A tiny, perfect blend of human and Zorathian DNA, a living symbol of their love. "Wow," he breathed, a slow smile spreading across his face. That's amazing, Liraya. A little unexpected, sure, but amazing." Her eyes searched his, a flicker of hope amidst uncertainty. "You're happy about this? You're not upset or scared?" Drake took her hand, lacing their fingers together. "Of course I'm happy. I mean, yeah, it's a lot to take in and we have things to figure out, but Liraya, this is our child. A piece of you and me growing inside you. How could I be anything but overjoyed?" Tears welled in Liraya's eyes, spilling down her cheeks. "Oh, Drake, I was so worried. Zorathian pregnancies are rare, and with a human father, I didn't know how you'd react." Drake gathered her into his arms, holding her close.
"Hey, it's okay.
"We're in this together, remember? No matter what happens, I'm here for you and our baby always." Liraya clung to him, face buried in his neck. "I love you, Drake, so much. I never thought I could feel this way about anyone, let alone a human. But you've changed everything for me." Drake's heart swelled. His own eyes grew damp. "I love you too, Liraya, more than I ever thought possible. And I promise I'm going to do everything in my power to protect you and our child no matter what." They held each other for a long moment, basking in the glow of their love and the new life they had created. But even amidst the joy, a flicker of unease crept into Drake's mind. "Liraya, what will this mean for us? For our relationship? I can't imagine your people will be thrilled about you carrying a half-human baby." Liraya sighed, pulling back to meet his gaze. "You're right. Interspecies breeding is not exactly common or accepted in Zorathian society. There will be those who see our child as an abomination, a violation of natural law." Drake's jaw clenched, anger and protectiveness surging through him. "To hell with them. Our baby is a miracle, not an abomination, and anyone who says otherwise can answer to me." Liraya smiled, cupping his cheek. "My fierce human warrior, always ready to fight for what he loves." Her expression sobered. "But Drake, we have to be smart about this. Vaxar, he's going to see this as the ultimate betrayal. A half-breed child. Proof that I've moved on and chosen a human over him. It will enrage him beyond reason." Drake's heart chilled. "You're right. He's already proven he's willing to go to violent lengths. We can't underestimate him." He took a deep breath, mind racing. "Okay, first things first, we need to get you someplace safe. Somewhere Vaxar can't find you." Liraya frowned. "But where? He has eyes and ears everywhere on Zorath 9. There's nowhere he can't reach." Drake's lips thinned. "Then we'll go off-world. Back to Earth or one of the human colonies. My people will protect us, Liraya. They'll understand, she looked uncertain. Are you sure? Leaving my home, my people, it's a big step. And what about your work here? Your mission? Drake took her hands, gaze fierce and determined. None of that matters, Liraya. Not compared to you and our baby. You're my family now, my whole world. And I'll do whatever it takes to keep you safe and happy. Liraya's eyes shimmered with fresh tears, her smile tremulous but full of love. Okay, if you're sure, then let's do it. Let's go to Earth. Drake grinned, joy and excitement bubbling up inside him. Really? You mean it? Liraya laughed, nodding. I do. I want our child to know both sides of their heritage, Drake. To grow up surrounded by love and acceptance, not fear and prejudice. And if that means leaving Zorath 9 behind, then that's what we'll do. Drake whooped, scooping her up and spinning her around. Oh, Liraya, you have no idea how happy you've just made me. I can't wait to show you my world, to introduce you to my family and friends. They're going to love you almost as much as I do. Liraya clung to him, laughing breathlessly. I can't wait either. It's going to be an adventure, Drake, a whole new chapter in our story. Drake set her down gently, mindful of her condition. Speaking of chapters, we should let the team know about this new development. They'll need to start making arrangements for our departure. Liraya sobered, nodding. You're right. And we need to be discreet. If word of my pregnancy gets out before we're ready. Drake's expression hardened. It won't. We'll keep this quiet until we're safely off-world. And then we'll shout it from the rooftops if we want to. Liraya grinned, eyes sparkling with mischief. Oh, I plan to. I can't wait to see the look on everyone's faces when they find out a human managed to tame the wild Zorathian landlady. Drake smirked, pulling her close. Tamed? Never. I like you wild, remember? Liraya purred, nipping at his jaw. How could I forget? After all, it was your wild human ways that got us into this situation in the first place. Drake chuckled, hand skimming over her curves. Hey, it takes two to tango, sweetheart. And as I recall, you were more than enthusiastic about exploring human mating rituals. Liraya grinned wickedly. What can I say? I'm a curious soul, and you, my darling Drake, are a most intriguing specimen. Drake growled playfully, capturing her lips in a searing kiss. They lost themselves in each other for a long moment, passion and love swirling between them like a heady elixir. When they finally broke apart, breathless and flushed, Drake rested his forehead against hers. We're really doing this, aren't we? Starting a family, a whole new life together. Liraya smiled, hand drifting to her stomach. We are, and you know what? Despite all the challenges and uncertainties ahead, I've never been happier or more excited about the future. Drake covered her hand with his own, marveling at the tiny miracle growing beneath their joined palms. Me too, Liraya, me too. Bring on the next adventure, I say. As long as I have you by my side, I'm ready for anything. And he meant it with every fiber of his being. Come hell or high water, vengeful exes or societal disapproval, he would stand by Liraya and their child. They were his world now, his reason for being, and he couldn't wait to see what the universe had in store for them next. The day of the duel dawned bright and clear, the triple moons of Zorath 9 casting a golden glow over the arena. Drake stood at the edge of the battlefield, heart pounding with anticipation and nerves. He glanced at Liraya, who stood beside him, hand resting protectively over her still flat stomach. Are you sure about this, Drake? She asked softly, eyes filled with concern. Zorathian duels can be intense. I don't want you getting hurt. Drake smiled, taking her hand and pressing a kiss to her knuckles. I'm sure, Liraya. This is about more than winning or losing. It's about proving to Vaxar and to everyone else that our love is strong enough to overcome any obstacle. Liraya's eyes shimmered with emotion, her smile tremulous but proud. I know, and I believe in you, Drake, but please be careful. I can't lose you. Not now. Drake pulled her into a tight embrace, breathing in her scent and savoring the feel of her in his arms. You won't lose me, Liraya. I promise. I'm fighting for our future, for our family, and I won't let anything stand in the way of that. They clung to each other for a long moment, drawing strength and comfort from their connection. When they finally pulled apart, Drake cupped Liraya's face in his hands, gaze fierce and determined. Wait for me, he whispered. I'll be back before you know it, victorious and ready to start our new life together. Liraya nodded, blinking back tears. I'll be here. Always. With one last kiss, Drake turned and strode onto the battlefield, head held high, heart full of love and purpose. Vaxar stood at the other end of the arena, posture rigid, expression cold. "Human," he spat, voice dripping with disdain. "I see you have accepted my challenge. Foolish but brave." Drake met his gaze steadily, unflinching. "I'm here to fight for Liraya's hand and for our love. I won't let you or anyone else stand in the way of our happiness." Vaxar sneered, eyes flashing with malice. "We shall see about that. Prepare yourself, human. The duel begins now." With a roar, Vaxar charged forward, movements a blur of speed and power. Drake braced himself, mind racing as he recalled everything Liraya had taught him about Zorathian combat. The first test was one of strength. Vaxar hurling boulders and heavy objects with incredible force. Drake dodged and weaved, using his smaller size and agility to his advantage. When Vaxar paused to catch his breath, Drake saw his chance. Using a technique learned from xenobiologist training, he focused his mind and sent a pulse of psychic energy toward one of the boulders, causing it to shatter into 1,000 pieces. Vaxar stared in shock, eyes wide with disbelief. How did you do that?" Drake grinned, tapping his temple. "Human ingenuity, Vaxar. We may not have your physical strength, but we have a few tricks up our sleeves." The next test was one of wit. Vaxar presenting Drake with a series of complex riddles and puzzles. Drake's brow furrowed as he worked through each one, mind straining to find the answers. But as he glanced at Liraya, watching from the sidelines with fierce pride and love, clarity and inspiration surged through him. The answers flowed like water, each one more clever and insightful than the last. Vaxar's face grew more frustrated as Drake solved puzzle after puzzle, his confidence wavering. "Impossible," he muttered. No human could be this intelligent. Drake just smiled, eyes twinkling with humor. Never underestimate the power of human determination. Vaxar, especially when it comes to matters of the heart. The final test was one of courage. Vaxar challenging Drake to face his deepest fears and darkest demons. Drake closed his eyes, steeling himself for whatever horrors lay ahead. But as he delved into his own mind, he found not fear, but strength. Strength born of love, of the unbreakable bond he shared with Liraya and their unborn child. Strength that allowed him to confront his doubts and insecurities, to emerge on the other side stronger and more certain than ever. When he opened his eyes, Drake saw Vaxar staring at him with a mix of awe and respect. "You have passed the final test, human," he said quietly. "You have proven yourself worthy of Liraya's hand, and of my blessing." Drake blinked, hardly daring to believe his ears. You mean it? You accept our love? Our union?" Vaxar nodded, expression solemn. "I do. I see now that your bond is true and unbreakable, forged in the fires of adversity and tempered by the strength of your devotion. I was wrong to try and come between you, to let my own jealousy and pride blind me to the truth." Drake felt a rush of relief and gratitude, heart swelling with emotion. "Thank you, Vaxar. Your blessing means more than you know." Vaxar held out his hand, eyes meeting Drake's with newfound respect. "Take care of her, human, and of your child. They are precious beyond measure." Drake clasped his hand, grip firm and sure. "I will. I swear it on my life." With that, the duel was over and Drake was declared the victor. He turned to see Liraya running toward him, face alight with joy and love. He caught her in his arms, spinning her around as she laughed and cried at the same time. "You did it, Drake. You won." Drake grinned, setting her down gently and cradling her face in his hands. "We did it, Liraya. Together. Just like we'll face everything else from now on." Liraya leaned into his touch, eyes shining with happiness. "I love you, Drake. More than anything in this universe or any other." Drake kissed her then, pouring all his love and devotion into the embrace. When they finally broke apart, breathless and giddy, he rested his forehead against hers. "Let's go home, Liraya, to Earth, to our new life together." Liraya smiled, hand finding his and lacing their fingers together. "Lead the way, my brave human warrior. I'll follow you anywhere." As they made their way to the waiting ship, Liraya suddenly giggled, eyes sparkling with mischief. "You know, I just realized something, Drake." He raised an eyebrow, curious. "Oh, what's that?" Liraya grinned, free hand coming up to trace the line of his jaw. "All this time I thought you were just another boring, rule-abiding human. But now I see the truth." Drake chuckled, leaning into her touch. "And what truth is that, my perceptive landlady?" Liraya's smile turned sly, voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "You went through all this trouble, the duel, the tests, the grand gestures, just to avoid paying rent, didn't you?" Drake threw his head back and laughed, the sound rich and joyful. "Now, my love, I did it for the free pod shows." Liraya blinked, then burst into laughter, swatting his chest playfully. "I knew it!" "You just couldn't resist the allure of my curious questions and wandering eyes, could you?" Drake grinned, catching her hand and pressing a kiss to her palm. "Guilty as charged. But don't worry, I'll make sure to pay my dues in other ways." Liraya's eyes darkened with promise, smile turning wicked. "I'll hold you to that, my brave human warrior. After all, I think we've established that you have many hidden talents and depths to explore." Drake's heart swelled with love and anticipation, gaze locking with hers in a moment of perfect understanding and connection. "And I can't wait to spend the rest of our lives exploring them together, my wild Zorathian temptress." Hand in hand, heart to heart, they boarded the ship to Earth, ready to embrace whatever the future held. For they knew that with their love to guide them and their humor to sustain them, there was no challenge they couldn't face, no obstacle they couldn't overcome. And as the stars streaked by outside the ship's windows, Drake and Liraya held each other close, their laughter and love echoing through the cosmos, a testament to the power of the human spirit and the unbreakable bonds of the heart.